Welcome to the Cloud LSI plus PIM demo. Today we're going to show you the conceptual level of how Cloud LSI plus PIM works and also some live web stores that use Cloud LSI. And then finally we'll give you an actual demonstration of Cloud LSI plus PIM and how it can become the foundation of your web store's product content needs. So first thing that happens is you want to feed data sources into Cloud LSI plus PIM. So we have basically any data source you can come up with can be fed into Cloud LSI, including from one of our partners, Trade Service. Trade Service now has some new products that fit directly into and work directly with Cloud LSI plus PIM. You can also bring in data from the PIM itself and then vendor data that goes beyond what Trade Service created or any other supplier of data, and then your ERP data, both descriptions and images and of course pricing and availability. All that goes in the PIM tool where it can now be edited and managed to be used by Lightspeed indexing, which then feeds the actual web store, and third-party apps that may need the data as well. So all the information that you need for a good experience on a web store or third-party app is now handled in one easy-to-use tool, Cloud LSI plus PIM. And then that becomes the way to also feed real-time pricing and availability at the time the search is actually occurring, so you can have that kind of information up to date and using the latest and greatest. You can also export into a CSV file, so then that data can then be used by a spreadsheet or other applications that don't have a REST API connection, which is what this is here, which is a real-time connection. This would be more of a manual batch level communication with the product information that's in here. But the bottom line is everything that's in Cloud LSI plus PIM can now be utilized by any application. I mentioned the trade service relationship we have, and the trade service now has a new product they call e-commerce content that can be used by people in the plumbing, HVAC, industrial, and electrical sectors. And this is a great way to get data that's consistent across all your SKUs that you sell. So you work an arrangement of trade service, and they can get data like this you're seeing here. This is part of that e-commerce content specification. So here we have a good high quality image. We have features and benefits for marketing information. We have specification data, resource pages like catalog pages, installation instructions, spec sheets, and then packaging information for weights and heights and volumes that can be used to feed automatic shipping calculators. There's also a version of Cloud LSI plus PIM for buying groups and users groups of ERPs. It's a great way for everyone to save costs in making product content, which is one of the biggest expenses for web stores. It's how do I get good content? And good content then verify will drive good sales. So Cloud LSI allows you to create a master catalog for the buying group or user group. And that master catalog is then fed by a company like Trade Service with group content. And the group content goes in the master catalog. Additional information can also be put in the master catalog beyond what the group content has. And that group content then feeds all the different distributors' catalogs. Each distributor has their own catalog that will then go and feed their own individual web store. And they can grab as much information as they want from the master catalog, filter it as they want, add additional features to that information and content, update it with the ERP information, add additional information from the vendor and PIM data that you may have for an individual basis, and then, as before, allow you to feed that information to your individual web store. You can also share information you've created already. Maybe you already have good information for a certain number of SKUs. You can share that with the master and create kind of a data co-op where all the other members can also share information to the master, and this information is free. So then there'll be a quality control mechanism that takes place here to make sure it's all the same level of quality. But once again, it's a dramatic way to lower the costs of getting product content for your web store. We're talking savings of typically 80 to 90% over what you would pay directly to a data provider like Trade Service or other competitors to Trade Service. You can also use this information, as I mentioned in the previous slide, to feed other apps and other applications that are out there that also need product content. You can see the first thing you'll notice is there's always good narrow your search attribution. This has become the #1 way for a good web store to allow people to quickly find the product they're needing. So the deeper the attribution here, the better the results. So you can see here, we have a lot of good information that's driving this site to allow people to choose from the hundreds of compact fluorescents they have and find the one they're looking for, whether it's Energy Star rated or operating position. Very important things in the B2B e-commerce environment, because someone is holding a specification in their hand, and that specification has to match the product they find here in the web store, or else they will not go forward with the product purchase. So the deeper the level of attribution here, the more likely to match their spec and the more likely to get to sale. If you don't have good information, you won't have good sales. Simple fact. So say we're looking for a product with a color temperature of 6450. One pick, we're now looking at that light bulb from the hundreds of the choices that were there. Now once you're here, and then you're looking for good information for someone to make their decision. So here you see very good deep level specification data, resource information, and technical details. It's this level of richness that allows a site to perform extremely well. Before Halco had this level of information, their site did not perform anywhere near at the level it does now. So good data is the solution, and Cloud LSI plus PIM is the means of managing that data and creating an experience just like this. You also, at the keyword search level, Cloud LSI will help you feed keyword suggestions. So when someone's typing in a keyword, they're looking for a product, all this information is coming from Cloud LSI. This means that if they pick any one of these, they'll get an exact match to what they're looking for versus just typing in generically and hoping to find what you're looking for. So this is also key to a good performing site, and Cloud LSI plus PIM is the key to driving this kind of experience as well, which I'm sure you recognize from other high-performing e-commerce stores. Another site that uses Cloud LSI, here at Codell Electric, we're looking at how can I get to the switch I'm looking for as quickly as possible. And here they have good attribution as well that allows them to quickly find the product they're looking for. So say I'm looking for a 20 amp switch. I go from hundreds of choices to one with one click. And now I'm looking at that 20 amp switch. I'm looking at good description, features and benefits, good product specifications. There's also product specification link to the manufacturer's spec. There's also ratings and reviews, and this site has our feature of whether people have also viewed, and it has a history of what you've viewed during this one shopping session. So it makes a very good experience. They also have related products turned on, so if anything's related to this that's close, people can see other options for the same product. This site here also uses Cloud LSI, and this is in the plumbing sector. So of course, a whole different level of attribution showing up here. Here, maybe you're looking for a certain finish, nickel or classic or oil rub bronze. Say I'm looking for a stainless steel. So with one click, I go from 39 choices to one choice. And once again, Cloud LSI feeds the data that gets someone make a decision about moving forward with this faucet or not. So it becomes absolutely critical to the buying decision process and everything that goes around that decision process. Our customers that don't use our Cloud LSI tool have a lot less results, a lot lower revenue than the ones that do. So now let's go ahead and go right into the Cloud LSI tool itself and show you how it works. This is Cloud LSI. Here we have a dashboard, the first thing that comes up, and it shows you how many products you have in your Cloud LSI. We have 6,000 fields. This particular version has 424,000 products and 5 catalogs. In most cases, a distributor will have one catalog. They will use that one catalog to feed their web store. We're looking at the admin level, so we have a lot more catalogs here at the admin level. So the first thing we do is second phase, we'll set you up your organization here and add you to the list of people that are already using the tool. And that way you can log in and start using Cloud LSI. We'll then go ahead and set up your connectors you're going to be using to feed data into Cloud LSI. As we showed earlier, this is your source, and it can have an unlimited number of data sources feeding it. So here's some connectors that are already existing. In many cases, we have to create new ones for your needs. And once we've done that, then that can be automatically consuming data from these sources. We have administration. Here's the catalog page where you can manage your data sources and your member catalog, your own individual catalog. This is where you also manage the master catalog if you're part of a buying group or a user group. Then we get into managing the fields, the data that's going to feed the web store. We pick here These are all the fields shared by every single SKU, all 424,000 SKUs that are in this particular version of Cloud LSI. So here you see things like manufacturer name and product ID and catalog names and such. And here's where you can determine what's going to happen with that information. Is it searchable? Is it displayable? So if you want to be able to search in a certain field, like when someone was back here, like we saw earlier, and they were typing in a word, this is where it says if it's searchable, it's looking for information related to what I'm typing in these fields back in Cloud LSI. So here we can see that these are turned on or off depending on what you want to do. And that's the way you fine-tune your search experience. You also can turn on whether you want to make it displayable or not. So in case you wanted, the data isn't quite ready or it's not quite what you wanted on the web store, you can simply just turn it off. Like in this case, they have long description turned off and they have customer description turned on. So say in the future you want to switch to now long description becoming your main description. You simply would flip this to false, this to true, and now you've done that with a couple of clicks. So a lot of flexibility in how this all works. If you have dynamic, allows you to set the settings for hundreds of fields at one time. So here, these are the attribute fields, the size, the voltage, the amperage, or whatever applies. You can set all these up with one click. So here you see everything that ends with an ATT, which is attributes, is displayable and searchable. You can micro-tune that by going over here to this list and removing things from this list you don't want to have displayed or searchable. So you can fine-tune your attributes that way. We also have a thing called Smart Field. This allows you to say, okay, I might have 3 different sources of data for one field. How does the site know which one to use? Well, here a Smart Field, you set it up. So here we say where it's commodity code, you can have 3 different sources of commodity code. This one being the first priority, this one being the second priority, this being third. You can have the same thing for description or for an image or for a product ID number or anything you want to set up here can all have a Smart Field that it'll automatically look at this source first, this source second, and this source third. And then you can drag and drop as you want to change its order of priority. So say you get a new source of images that just arrive and you want to merge those with the Cloud LSI. You bring in these images, make sure they're associated to a product ID number or UPC code, and then they'll automatically be associated to the products. Then you would come in here and say image, and you would say first priority is that new source of images. Second priority is, say, trade service. Third priority is your ERP. And then every time an image is called for on the web store, it'll automatically look for the highest priority source of that image. Very important feature, very, very powerful, and it allows you to always present the best data you have at all times. We have another area called field groups. And this lets you say where product information gets displayed on your web store. So this is the actual web store that is using this version of Cloud LSI right here. So if we go into a product detail page of this data, Cloud LSI right now is driving the search experience you're seeing. It's using the catalog name, the category names that were found in the data. So you see up here the taxonomy. And then when we get to the page here, you see your search refinements for this control. So I can go in here and pick the ones that are appropriate, manufacturer name, brand name, whatever is appropriate, or I can just go right to the product I'm looking for and pick it here. Here you see the data being displayed from Cloud LSI. Here we have tab 1, tab 2, and tab 3. So we pick tab 2, we see spec sheets and installation instructions. We go back to Cloud LSI and see tab 2, we see installation instructions and spec sheets, just like I just saw. If I want to remove this from tab 2, I simply can hit the trash can or move it to another area of the screen by picking here and saying tab 1 has attributes, which are specifications. And if we go back here, we'll see tab 1 has attributes, specifications. Here we see amperage and voltage and additional information, all the things you want on your tab 1. So this is how you can control what goes on each tab or other parts of the screen on your product detail page real quickly and easily. Another thing you can do is change your search properties. So here we set up the order of how things are displayed when you do your narrow your search. So when we go back one level here, we see narrow your search and we see brand first, manufacturer second, then attributes third. Here we see brand first, manufacturer name second, and attributes third, just like we just saw. If you want to boost the results that show up when you're on a given page, you can come here to the boost category. You can say, all right, manufacturer name. If what I'm searching for has GE product, I want GE product to go to the very top of the list. If it has 3M product, I want 3M product to go to the top of the list. So this is a great way of featuring certain vendors for whatever reason, for a marketing campaign, or you have a better deal of GE and such. You can do the same thing on any field. So here we have product name. If what someone is searching for matches the product name exactly, then boost that to the top. And you can do that all the way down by adding new fields as you want. And you can do it for any field. Customer description, lawn description, anything you want to boost, you can do that. So when we're back here at the product detail page, then you would see if there was GE products as a result here, you'd see GE at the top here. And then when the next brand shows up, then that would show up next. But GE would then have priority over any other product when the results have a GE result. Very powerful tool. Next, we have our connector configurator. This lets you set up the mapping between your different data sources and what happens when it comes to Cloud LSI. This allows the data to be standardized, which can be critical when you have 10, 15 different data sources, and they all have different naming conventions and different means of storing data. This is the way you bring them all into one. So here we have it being set up. This is the connector for our web store itself, but here's one for trade service. And so the trade service data has certain naming conventions, and you match those naming conventions to the actual naming convention in Cloud LSI. And once you've done that once, it happens automatically from here on out. So whenever I bring in trade service data, it will automatically take additional information and stick it in the alternate description name. Column 3 pricing gets set up as the standard retail pricing. And all that just happens automatically once you've done that. And we allow you to change this. So you can then adjust the mapping as needed, but we'll do the first pass for you. Next, we have the PIM itself. Here's how you add new information or edit existing information. So say I want to add new information here. So I pick products new. I can say, all right, I'm going to add a lighting product made by GE. Hit search, and here's all the lighting products made by GE that are in my data right now. So I can come in here and say, okay, I'm going to add a halogen sealed beam lamp. I have one just like it, but it's a little different. So I come in here, I pick that, and here you see the existing halogen lamp data. And now all I need to do is change what's unique for this new product. So I can go in here, change the UPC code, change anything that's unique. It's just for this, like say it's got 800 hours of life versus 600, and go ahead and change all the different things. Hit save, and I got a new light bulb that's been added of a couple clicks. If I want to add a new field to this data, I simply hit test, or whatever field I want to add. Say I want to add test voltage, 300. Hit that, and now test voltage 300 has been added to my data right here. Now this product now has a new field as well, in addition to what was already there. If I want to edit a single product, it's really the same process. You pick, look for the product you're looking for. Say once again, I'm looking for lighting, GE product. Hit search, and then I can come in here and see I want to edit this incandescent lamp. So now all I need to do is just change the fields that I want to change, hit save, or add a new field as I showed earlier, and off I go. If I know a specific name of a field, I can start typing it, and it'll automatically bring up, say, manufacturer name or customer manufacturer, whatever it may be. And I can quickly find the field that I want to change and then make that adjustment, hit save, and off I go. If you want to do a bulk edit and change hundreds or even thousands of products of a couple of clicks, you come in here to bulk edit. You can change by manufacturer. Say I wanted to change all GE products and add a new field to them. Maybe there's something that's unique to GE. I want to say to all GE products. Or I can say I want to change a certain product category and every SKU that's part of that category. So say we stick in the lighting theme. We go down here, we pick lamps. This is the exact same taxonomy that's in the data that we saw here on this demo site. And so we can pick, say I want to change all the fluorescent lamps in my Cloud LSI data. So I simply pick 3,355 compact fluorescent lamps. And then I can say, what do I want to change? Well, I can say I want to change category names or whatever I want to change. I just pick These are the fields shared by all 3,000 fluorescent lamps. So I can say I want to change their category names, and I want to add a new name. As I showed earlier, say I want to add test voltage. Hit next. And now I can make any adjustments I want to the category names. Say I want to say fluorescent lamps plus bulbs. And I hit append, and it'll automatically say fluorescent lamps plus bulbs for all 3,000 fluorescent lamps. Or I can say I want to now add test voltage, 300, replace, and now I'll have test voltage 300 for all 3,000 lamps by just hitting the Save Changes button, and off I go. So I can make massive changes to hundreds, thousands, or even all 440,000 SKUs with a couple of clicks, and make it really quick, great way to add additional specification data, additional images. Anything I want to add can be done very quickly and simply with this bulk edit feature. Once I have all my edits done in the PIM, I can go to the export feature and say I wanted to export the data to any particular system in a CSV format. I come in here, I pick the fields that I want to export, pick any other filters that I want to add. I can pick what format I want that data to go out in by using our connector feature I showed earlier. Hit the export button, and now I have a file of these three fields, and based on a certain format for a certain export connector. And now I can use that data any way I want in the ERP or in a spreadsheet or in a third-party application that uses this information, and have a great way to manage the information I'm using. Another tool built into here is the ability to manage the data. And here's where you set up the people that can use Cloud LSI. So here we say we have one person who's got admin, another person's got marketing permissions, another person can change e-commerce information. And you can say what they can do once they've got that permissions. They can change everything, they can only change certain categories, and that way you have control over what people can do, and they can't make massive changes to data if they don't have the ability or the right to do that. We also have a thing called workflow, which lets people approve the data to manage data quality, which is, of course, one of the biggest things you'd want out of a tool like this is how do I ensure the quality of the data? Well, here we've set up that if someone adds a new product, these two people have to verify that it's good, and they have to approve it. If there's nobody displayed in here, that means nobody has to approve it. You can have one person or 10 people having to approve it. There's no limit to the approval process. And we set up these defaults here of edit product, add new attributes, edit attributes. And then we have even a final one that says publish product data. This will require a final review before it becomes usable on the web store. So these two people have to once again review the data and make sure that it's good and meets the quality standards of your needs, and then hit the publish button, and now it'll be usable by the web store to create the kind of experiences we saw here, where the data that you've added will now be displayed in any format you want and make a really great experience for someone to find the product they're looking for. So you have that, and then finally we have a thing called data quality. Data quality allows automatic reports to run whenever you're doing an import of data into the system. So here's an actual report here. This report is looking to make sure that there's product ID information, UPC code, and description for everything that's imported. And it'll automatically run by clicking here whenever you do an import. So this way you can have an assurance of data quality automatically whenever someone imports data. You can also fine-tune what it looks at. Here we're saying to look only in conduit and raceways category, or you can get rid of this, and that way it'll look at everything. And that way you can quickly manage your data, look for problems, and then when this report's been run, you'll be able to see exactly your quality of your data. So here's the manual way to run a report. So say I want to run a report. I'll run the one that we were just looking at, conduit and raceways report. Hit run. It looks at the data, sees if any issues, and then automatically comes back and tells us how it went. Here we can see that product ID, there's 93% of the SKUs have a product ID, and 7% don't. UPC code, 99% have a UPC code, and description, only 50% have a description. So now you can click the red area and actually go automatically right into the PIM tool and fix those missing descriptions. And the goal, of course, is to have green all the way across on all three of these. So that means you have 100% coverage of product ID, UPC, and description for the conduit and raceways category. So this is a great way to manage your data and make sure that it's running properly. We also have reports for other things such as category quality, data type quality, facet quality, merge quality. How well did the merge of data from different sources come in and what was missing and what wasn't? Really important tools to get your quality where it needs to be to get the kind of experience we've been showing on our other sites for all your SKUs, not just a portion of them. And then, of course, there'll be an archive here for all your reports you've run, and you can bring up that archive, and every report will have a date and time associated to it that can connect up to the time when you actually uploaded data into the system. So that way you can match up your imports with your data quality reports and always be able to see if a certain import caused problems, and if so, you can fix it right here in the run report area by going into the PIM and making those adjustments. So that is what I wanted to show you on Cloud LSI plus PIM. If you have any questions, please give us a call at 303-582-9326, or you can email sales@secondphase.net. Thanks for your time.